Hi, I'm Roy Kapp, and I'm one of the instructors here at Delphi, and I'm going to show you how to set up your kiln for doing a Vitrograph. So I'm going to show you how to set one up. We're going to do it here on the table, but we're going to show you some pictures of how it's actually done. Normally we set up the kiln on a rack of some sort, and then what you want to use is a kiln that is segmented, that can come apart. This particular kiln, the bottom comes off it by just unlatching it. So I'm going to unlatch this kiln, and then that way we can just separate the kiln from the bottom. Here's another kiln that comes apart so we can use for the Vitrograph. The top comes off. You'll see that the center then is removed, and then we have the bottom. So what we're going to do is set the kiln first on a fiberboard, and you can see this fiberboard here has a hole in it. So what we're going to do is imagine that we're going to put this on a rack. That goes on the rack. Then we're going to take the center part of the kiln. This goes on top of that. So the fiberboard acts as the bottom of the kiln in this situation. And then we're going to put the top of it on. And we're going to assemble everything inside here. Now what goes in first though is going to be a flower pot. So we're going to put pieces of glass into a flower pot. And that's why there's a hole in the board, so that when the glass drips out of the bottom of the flower pot, it's going to come out and we can manipulate it that way. The only thing you want to be a little careful of in this situation is you want to make sure that the glass doesn't stick up out of the top of the flower pot. I mean, usually you can't get the lid on, or in some kilns you might run the risk of the glass sticking to the lid. Usually I'll just come in and cut them out. Another little trick here about using glass in the flower pot is you don't want to use too many colors, because you can muddy your stringer up a little bit. So what I try to do is use just a couple of colors. I try not to use more than 3 if I can, and adding clear to it is a great way of just getting it to lighten up a little bit so it doesn't look so muddy. I often will just kind of segregate the color a little bit, one on one side, one on the other. Here's some stringers that we made in the Vitrograph that you can see that they're kind of two-toned. They have color on this yellow on the one side, this nice kind of cobalt blue on the other. One of the nice things about using a Vitrigraph kiln is it's a great way of using up scrap or small pieces that you might not know what to do with. I save all of my fusible glass. I just kind of keep them in color, and then when I'm ready to make something, I'll just make some stringer out of it. This particular bowl was done just using a single color. I had a lot of little small pieces of this cyan blue left over, so I put it in a Vitrograph and created all these really nice kind of squirrely, curvy stringers that you couldn't normally make by hand. So this particular one is done on a reactive glass, so you can see this kind of slight halo around each of these, this little dark color that goes around each little piece, and it's just a chemical reaction between the glasses. I just kind of got lucky on that. Another thing that comes in handy is using these glass nippers or mosaic nippers. They're a great way of just, if you're trying to get your glass in here and you're noticing that it's all a little too tall, we can just come in and quickly just cut it down to size and just throw it back in there so that none of the pieces are sticking up on top. Once you get the glass kind of cut where you want it, then we're just going to put the lid back on, and then we're going to fire the kiln up. What we do in this situation is the kiln doesn't really have to worry about ramping at a certain speed. We just want to get up to as hot as temperature as we can get in a short amount of time. Here's another project you can do with a Vitrigraph kiln. And if you have any more questions about it, you can feel free to give us a call here at Delphi or check us out on the web.